Hello, everyone. Welcome to my Reincarnation, Astrology, and Karmic Integration channel. So, I hope we'll have a very interesting insights during all of our communication at this masterclass and maybe some future. And I would say the most important thing that we study here is the story of our life, or maybe we say of our lives. And the first question is, do we have many lives? How many lives do we have? How many how many life does exist at all? And the answer, after all that, after so many years of research and studying, is just one. There is one life. There is one big, huge ocean of lives. And that ocean is infinite. We can call it ocean of lives, like ocean of waves, or just one big ocean of a huge big life as we have. So in reincarnation astrology, we study all these waves and we see infinite number of them. We see so many waves that are representing our karmic memories from different incarnations that we have, that our soul remembers from past lives and also from our future lives. Our soul does remember incarnations from our future lives as well. This is an infinite ocean of lives, and the time is not a line, time is a circle, and we have them, all of these lives, simultaneously in one big life. And that's the goal of karmic integration. So, understanding the causality of different lives and how they work together, how they are interconnected, and finding a way how to actually make one out of all of them, out of all of these experiences, how to find the key point that would hold them together, that would make our true life, our big one, is actually the goal of karmic reintegration. So, our inner path, studying all that, have that simple goal: how to integrate, how to come to that place where I live my life here with all the other lives or experiences that my soul contains at the same time. And what does it mean? How things change and how is everything interconnected? So that's the story of reincarnation astrology. And that's a very exciting journey once you start studying it. So that's something that I will try to introduce you in uh, in this class, and maybe to start, talking, communicating with you. So if you have any question at the end of class, I'll be very glad to, answer to that. But first thing that I think we would need to understand is that our soul is not in our body. It is actually our body in our soul, because our soul is everything. Our soul is everywhere. Our soul is way bigger than anything. It is actually not only in this incarnation. Our soul connects memories from many pasts and many future incarnations that we already have. And the beauty of reincarnation astrology is that we can actually calculate the the stories that we actually had, and even find the roles and understanding the everything that was connected with certain past life or with certain future lives, and how how they are interconnected, how they work together. And what do we do now? Are we real or we are dreaming? Are we real? Do we live our true life at this moment, or we are just, going through some memories of different experiences, but still not being awakened. So at the same time, reincarnation astrology is questioning our spirituality, our way of living a true full life, and finding a way through karmic integration process how to unite all of that. Just as our hands, we have left hand, we have right hand, we have our future lives, we have our past lives. They are all here, they are working together as one. But that's on us, on our consciousness, to actually realize that and to start living the unity of all these different experiences that we had. So, what I want to present you is, for example, when we say our soul, we typically mean our moon. In astrology, we say, yes, that's moon, but the moon contains memory in our chart, in our natal chart, on a three key incarnation. One is a present incarnation story, the other is the story of our previous life, and the third is the story of our next incarnation. So in any given chart, you don't have to open the other charts. These three incarnations are present. So any natal chart is actually not a chart of one life. No, even though that's the moment when we actually was born in this life, actually two other lives are structured in it, and they are working together as one. That's why we have three signs of the same element in every chart, right? Like the first house or the first sign is always fire, and that's what we call life. And then we have another fiery sign and another fiery. So we have three fiery signs, we have three watery signs, we have always that trinity. So this is because three parts of our soul are bringing their stories there. So these three we need to integrate in one. So if we want to have here in this incarnation our fulfilled life, these three needs to cooperate. Otherwise, if they don't, well, it's not an easy life. So we would see people things that are, not working well with us, or whatever is happening is not going, we don't feel well, we are not happy maybe with sometimes with some things. But the reason why is that so is just because those three parts, those three lives are not integrated. They are just, you see, those three lives are present in everything, in all the other people. We see parts of us in other people. Very often we see parts of our past memories in other people. Sometimes we see, parts of our future memories, memories of us in the future life. So we have them here, and they are all connected. But the three lives, even though we have way more incarnations, but the three of them in any life, in any natal chart, are those that need to be integrated, those that need to work together as one. So first, I'd like just to show you a simple thing. Why do we say that the natal chart is the one that, starts with the first house, which represents the first breath in, like, yes, we are alive, we start alive, but we end the life within the eighth house. Why is that so? Why do we end life with the eighth house? Why particularly eight? Why not nine? Why not seven? Why not 12th house? What's the matter with the eighth? What is the matter with the eighth house? Because if you just look at the circle, it would be way more logical that you actually start your life with the first house, and then you say, okay, naturally you end your life with the last house, which would be the 12th house. But no, you start your life with the first house, and then you end it somewhere in the middle, like the eighth house. Why eight? That was the question I was always asking myself. it's easy to say like, oh yeah, eighth house is connected with the sign of Scorpio. Yes, but the question still remains: why the Scorpio is the eighth sign? What's about the eight by itself? There is something. So I'll just try to show you, the logic that actually exists. That I realized. They say, wow, that's something very, very unique about that. Listen, if you just start counting the numbers, like the first house represents one, and then you go from the first to the second house, like, your next experience. So you count 1 plus 2 gives you 3. Then you add 3. So you say, okay, plus 3, it is 6. Then you say 4, fourth house, you get 6 plus 4 is 10. Or if you just now say 1 plus 0, I mean, numerologically, you get again number 1. Then you add number 5, you get 15. 1 and 5 are 6. And then you get plus 6, 21. 2 plus 1 is 3. And then 7, you say, okay, plus 7, we get 28. 2 plus 8 is 1. But look at that. For the first time, when you add number 8, you get the 36. And 3 and 6 give you 9. So 9 is the highest number. After 9, you get 10, but 10 is 1 plus 0, 1. So, like, you need an experience with the 8 to get the wholeness, to get the totality, to get the whole cycle, to get everything. So, number 8 is essential part of our life. It is not any kind of death, even though we traditionally call the eighth house the house of that, and because you don't know what's happening when you go to the eighth house, when you go to the other side. But still, that other side is actually the face side of our life, of who we are. Because without that eighth house, there is no any other, there is no fulfillment, there is no complete cycle. That's a great mystery of that house. This is actually the most important house in reincarnation astrology. Understanding that part is actually understanding everything. Everything, and not only about our soul, but also in physics, understanding how different dimensions are working. Because here we actually change the dimension. And whenever we say we go to the eighth house, the house of that, or the house of transformation, we actually say we change our dimensional reality, dimensional experience. And through that new kind of experience, we transform. We go to some other life, what we call other life. So this is just changed life. It is still one ocean of life, but we just get another dress and we go there. So it is still us, but it is there. But the first thing is, who is us? Can we define that? Because if you can find in one incarnation who you really are, then you will remember who you are in any other life whenever you go. Because that us, that common denominator, will be all the time with you. So that's the awakening point. Most of people actually never come that close to themselves. So they live a life like, going through something, but no, they don't actually get that point of, defined as a single unity point of everything of ourselves. So the eighth house contains that story. So what happens actually when we enter the eighth house? The spiral opens. So the eighth house is like a vortex. You just, the timeline that we experience as a line in, any life. You experience like you're going from yesterday to tomorrow. But in reality, nothing goes like that. In reality, everything goes from the present to the past and future simultaneously. And that present is something that humans never experience on this side. They need to go to the other side in order to experience the present. So the moment when we enter the eighth house, we are actually opening the spiral. And we go on our spiral path like a vortex, going deeper, deeper, deeper. Actually, we are opening the present time for the first time. Well, that's completely new experience. That last second, if you divide a second and half a second before you die, 1/4 of a second, 1/8 of a second before you die, 1/16 of a second, 1/32 of a second, 1/64 of a second. It's actually infinite. You never die. Trust me. You just go to a very silent level. And the moment of present is infinity. The moment when you touch the present is actually the moment of a conception in another time and space. So, astrologically, all that happens in a 3 degree of Scorpio. Because, archetypally, we go from the moment of passing from one life to the other, starts from a 15 degree of Libra, when we have that measuring of the soul. And the question that we always get at the end, always, is, was it easy? Just that. And that question is the question asked to our soul. And, our soul just express its own experiences. How was it? Whatever is there, all the feelings, all the relationships that we had, everything. It is, that experience, that answer is very innocent. That's whatever we experienced. And that actually creates our beliefs in a next life. So our beliefs that we have now, we got the moment we died last time, because that's the measure of lightness. How, was it easy? Or no, and someone says, no, it was not easy. Life was like, no, I hope I don't come back. Oh my gosh. Listen, where you go, whatever you say, you go right always from 15 degree of Scorpio, we go deep, 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 15 degree of Libra, we go deep, deep, deep to 3 degree of Scorpio. This is the moment of singularity, of just oneness. That is the moment when we transcend any kind of duality. It is just like the bottom of a black hole. Well, that's the moment of unity, and that's the moment of conception. The same time, the same moment, but completely different time and space. Somewhere we are conceived by our future parents. Two opposite cells met at that point. And from 3 degree of Scorpio, we go there, no coming back. Some people sometimes can have a near death experience, so they come very close to 3 degree of Scorpio, and sometimes they choose to come back. So, and that's a very unique kind of experience and all that. But after 3 degree of Scorpio, wow, after that singularity, after that present, eternal present, which is like unity of all the opposites, everything one, opposites of our, future parents, opposite cells of them, met, bound, and we are just, connected with that. So, however that was, easy, not easy, that's our heaven. And when we say heaven, we mean mother's womb. And we go to our prenatal period, which we call, in some time, oh, it's 9 months. But for the experience of a soul there, it's heaven, which is happy heaven, the way mother is happy. She's happy, whatever she feels, whatever is happening, that's how we actually go through that. And then, we get a family, we get, place, we get everything, the language, mother's language, I mean, everything. We get like a new life. And, our psychology forms in early stages of life. So everything happens when we are very young there. And I mean, all that is structured in our beliefs. So we got them. So if we believe the life was easy, yes, that's going to be here. So the question is, why do we believe that life is easy or not? This is the matter of gratefulness, how grateful you are for the life you live. When I say grateful, it's not like a mental thinking, it's just like how satisfied you are. Hmm? You have a billion reasons to be satisfied. Many people would change their place just with you, whatever you are, whatever you think about yourself. You're still, wow, you're still great. But you just need to realize that. And the moment you realize that, you get something important. So when your soul takes that as a reality, then, your answer is yes, it was easy. It was it. Anyway, whenever we go through that spiral of life, that last second becomes so long. So we start remember everything that happened in that life that we are just ending. All the memories starting. So the last second becomes like very long line. It's just like a story, a memory. We start remembering everything, all that. So this is that spiral path. So as we say, this is the opening between past and future, between that timeline. It opens, and we are going just straight to the present time. So the present time, that's where we go. As I said, it would be like 3 degrees of Scorpio. That's the moment where everything starts. And, going through that, we just remember, experience all the relationships we had, all whatever was important for us, everything, all that, everything. So that's all that is in us. And we could say that this is how it looks like. First house is a fiery house. It represents a life. Eighth house is a watery house. It represents something opposite of fire. Hmm? We call it that, but water and fire are actually working together. So natural ruler of the first house is Mars. You see, that's an Aries. Natural ruler of the eighth house is Mars. Again, it's a Scorpio. We may call it even Pluto, but it doesn't matter. Mars, we have fiery Mars, we have watery Mars. So one. And they need to be one in every given life if you want really to live truly your life here to full potentials. But if you don't, if you're scared of the eighth house, if you try not to go there, then you are really determined. The destiny, the fate is very strong. It goes like, as an arrow, just because you believe in an arrow. You believe the thing is happening from yesterday toward tomorrow, but no, it is not true. That truth, how the things are happening, how things goes, is actually within the eighth house. That's where you understand that everything starts from the moment now, the present transcendental moment that humans never experience as, regular humans who never dive, who never come to that place deep, into their singularity. And if they don't experience that, they always experience life as one arrow. But basically, this is what we have. So the eighth house contains the memory of all the life. Eighth house already has a memory of our present life, complete memory of our present life. If you know how to enter there, you will see the whole memory, the beautiful, all of that, because this is who you really are. This is a big you. You need to unite one house, one and eight, in order to become real. Both of them actually gives you activation of this life. Okay, after the eighth house, we open, there is a story of ninth house. Ninth house is another fiery house, and it represents the future life. So in astrology, we say like, okay, that present life is, the first house. But the future life is the one that comes after the eighth house, which is ninth house. And that's the story of our future life. And 8 houses later, the end of a future life, if you wish, is the fourth house. So the fourth house would open that spiral. So it's again a watery house. And then also you have, of course, one more house, which is fiery house. This is the fifth house. The fifth house is the house of life, which is previous to this one. So the previous life, the story of that life, what you've done, what was your role, is written there. And the 8 houses later, it is the 12th house. So the 12th house represents the end of it, and all the memories, whatever was important for you. So the 12th house is the one that basically contains that answer. Was it easy? How was that? All of our key beliefs are structured within the 12th house, and now we are projecting them, into our first house, because we emerge from the 12th house. So this is how it goes. This is the story. So the 12th house is actually the one that we start our karmic research when we want to open the memory of our previous life that basically creates us now here. So here I will shortly describe you 8 steps to discover the previous incarnation. So we study them in a longer, education process, but in a short, there are 8 things that you need to check in a chart. So the first thing would be the 12th house. The 12th house is basically the one that contains the memory of your previous life, the way how you died, what was the most important for you. Like this is the karma of attachment, how attached you are to something, what you believed you are, how you believed your life was. And also that house tells us about your gender, because people are very, very often connected. They believe they are man or woman or whatever. So they believe that. That's like important thing. Some people don't, but most people, to many incarnations, do. So you will see in some cases it's very obvious. Some cases not. But 12th house is very important to actually describe you all that you are attached to, that you believed. People do believe. They are, oh, I'm a man, oh, I'm a woman, whatever. But basically, that's just attachment. So the other house that you need to check to discover the previous is the 5th house. The 5th house tells you, what did you do? So these are your actions. It's not like, how was it? Was it easy? That's the 12th house. That's the 12th house is how you experience the life. But the 5th house is, what did you do? What was your role there? It's much more active one. So both of them are important to understand the whole story of one life. So when you study them, you need to check both at the same time. Okay, the third thing that you need to check is a very important, and wow, I would say even a favorite one for me. It's a last conjunction of the moon. So the last conjunction of the moon is actually telling us about a lesson that you had in a previous life, and how well did you do that lesson. Because in every life we experience we learn something, we go through many experiences, even though we could say for our true being it's all one huge big life. But we go to many classrooms, we go to many experiences, we study different subjects. So in every life we do that. So I want to check what was the last conjunction, because that planet that physically was the last one before the moon, wherever it is, actually the position of that planet, the state, the quality, and all that tells us what the lesson was about and how well did you do that. Okay, so for example, if you just take that as a chart, and here you see a moon, so Uranus would be here the last lunar conjunction, because it is before a moon. It can be one sign before, it could be the same sign before, it could be 6 signs before. It doesn't matter, whatever the planet is. So I don't take, in this account, I don't take any asteroids into account or nodes. I just take the planets. It's a longer story why, but we discuss more about that on studies. But here is just to give you a short understanding of it. So let's take just one example. Let's take Barack Obama chart. So he has a very interesting chart. It's really one that when you look, I mean, from karmic point of view, it's a really interesting one. He's Aquarius rising, and as Aquarius, he will have like a two rulers. One is Uranus, but the other is Saturn. Anyway, Saturn is in his 12th house, and there is a Jupiter too. So if you look the last lunar conjunction from the moon, so this is a part of fortune, Chiron node, that would be Jupiter. So his last lunar conjunction, the lesson that he had to learn, that he actually was to learn, was the Jupiter. So, and we also studied this, how well did he learn that? How was that? I mean, all about it. So that's, I'm telling you, part of further studies. But basically, you understand that Jupiter was his last lesson. So with that, you can say, okay, he needs to study like, okay, what is the justice? What is the purpose? What is the vision? What is the like some greater things that you want to achieve? That's studying a Jupiter is like studying a knowledge, whatever. So it can provide different kind of experiences. It's like you enter into that incarnation where you study Jupiter, you can easily become a teacher or a lawyer or a traveler or whatever symbolizes Jupiter. So that's the kind of experience. But here we have it, interestingly, on a 0 degree of Aquarius, which is something new and something I would say, wow, strong, revolutionary, big, like beginning. And that's an interesting thing. And also you have a Saturn here in the 12th house. Well, Saturn would also be one of the rulers of the 12th of the first house, but also the ruler of the 12th house. So I would say that was a very interesting incarnation, and especially when you see Saturn in its own sign and in conjunction here with Jupiter, he was probably a person very well known, and you can even understand that he must be a historically known person, because Saturn rules history, and Saturn is in its own sign, and here is with Jupiter. These are not small planets. This is something big. And also this Jupiter makes trine even with Moon. So that means he was very even popular in a way, or known, public. So that's kind of a life we experience. So using other techniques of karmic reincarnation astrology, we study who could that person, well-known person, be. And I'll just show you one thing. When you see when you open chart of Thomas Jefferson, the person who actually was one of the authors of the Constitution of the US, he was a lawyer. He was a lawyer. You would see that his ascendant is right in a 0 degree of Aquarius, right where Barack Obama's Jupiter in the 12th house last conjunction is. So that's one interesting thing. I don't say it's all, but it's the first clue to start thinking about it. So there are other things that are important. Look at that. He's also Jupiter, Saturn is one of his rulers, and it is also in conjunction with Jupiter, which is in another sign, just as in case with Barack Obama, because you see, Barack Obama has Saturn in Capricorn in conjunction with Jupiter in Aquarius. So here you also have Saturn in Leo in conjunction with Jupiter in Virgo. So basically, kind of a very similar pattern, and that's something that repeats. These are like trails that we see when we study reincarnation astrology. So the distance between Jupiter and Saturn in Thomas Jefferson chart is 5 degree 41 minute. If I take both of these, so just these similarities, here you have Jupiter right on the ascendant on Thomas Jefferson, and also you could say that Uranus, which is one of the ruler of chart of Thomas Jefferson, was on 26 degree of Capricorn, and Saturn, which is also one of the rulers of Barack Obama's chart, is 25 degree Capricorn, meaning very, very close to each other. So that's another thing. And also, as we said in Thomas Jefferson, the distance between Jupiter and Saturn in two neighboring signs, first Saturn, then Jupiter, is 5 degree 41 minutes. Here you have 5 degree 32 minutes, unbelievably close. This is just the same pattern. I know from many other studies that I did with that chart, that this is actually the same soul. That's same story, and there is a reason why behind all that. So that's an even greater story, that we actually understand the purpose of one soul wanted to go that way, to experience, and what is happening, what is actually truly connecting that. That's kind of thing that we study in reincarnation astrology. So to see that law of that oneness in many forms, and also we study how in practical life, how to have that integration, how to achieve that karmic integration, how to connect all of our soul's memory, meaning all of our lives, into one, and live that, and live as united. So that's a big important thing for us. So after these first three things, I'll just tell you, you have Saturn that you need to study. Saturn is telling you about the pure cause and effect karma. So it's very important. Some people have actually strong kind of a memory of a Saturn, and Saturn, depending on its states, originates from a previous. If it is retrograde, it usually says even 2 lives ago, and in some cases can describe even further. But in normal cases, it is just the Mars in previous life, because whatever the Saturn is now, it is just actually an old Mars. It used to be Mars. Basically, we create our karma with Mars. Karma is a Sanskrit word that means action. So that's how we actually create our reality and get certain circumstances. So whatever we do, there is a fact. And that's the story of Saturn. So that's one kind of karma that we have. So then we also have retrograde planets. Retrograde planets are beautiful. They can tell us about many things that we repeat from the past, but sometimes they're actually opening us, opening memories of the future lives as well. So sometimes through retrogrades, we are opening to the future. So in reincarnation studies, we differentiate when and under which circumstances retrograde planet is opening us toward the past memories and opening those doors, or toward the future memories, and how we work with them. That's very beautiful to know, and retrogrades are important. So in some cases, they are describing the story of a previous. Very often they can be story of a previous. So then we have aspects to the nodal axis. So in astrology, we know that we have nodes, knowing as a dragon head and dragon tail, or north lunar node and south lunar node. So they are important for us. So they are actually representing our soul, our future part of our soul, and our past part of our soul. So they are all connected here. And any aspect, when I say aspect, I don't mean conjunction. I mean just like, aspects like trine, sextile, square, but not like conjunction. Conjunctions are different, so they are not connected with the previous. They are opening stories to different lives. But aspects are specifically important to the relationships. So they're telling us about the relationship, karma of relationship that we had in the previous lives. And that kind of relationship will meet here. In some cases, it was a great one, and that's a indicator for meeting our soulmate in some cases. In some other cases, it is also very important person to us, but it's more about the karmic relationship that we have. It is not the relationship is not mature enough so that you can call it soulmate, but it is a very challenging one. But still, you have lot of things to learn, and you need to know how to unlock, the potentials that you have in those kind of relationships. But they are coming from the previous. The seventh step that you have is to check all the separating aspect that you have with the orb 1 degree, because all the separating aspects are actually echoing the memory of a previous. But if it is 1 degree orb, that represents one life ago. That's something that we call karmic direction system. So 1 degree equal one life. So if it was separating orb, separating aspect, any kind of aspect, 1 degree orb, yes. So that's an opening to a story that actually was exact, or the most important, in a previous life. And there is another chart. There is a special chart that we create for a previous. It's called previous incarnation chart. There is a technique based on a Vedic system, Dvadashamsha, and we know how to make it in Western astrology, and it's very, very helpful because it describes us the story of our previous. We just get the whole chart and how it reflects to us and how we use it. So with those 8 steps, we basically get the story. We understand the story of previous. As I said, we have also a future story in our chart, our natal chart. And then you have, when you start studying that, you would see different lifetimes, how they communicate, how they actually, just like a days in regular life, like something you did 17 days ago affects you today, or you're planning something, or something is happening in 3 weeks from now, like 21 days from now. So you have the influences from the future as well, even in this life, even though you don't see it like that, but just try to understand that in a way of karmic journey of our soul. Anyway, I'm talking about it in you can see more in my 2 books. One is Reincarnation Astrology, the other is The 4 Gates of Karma. And I have other books. One of the most important for me at the moment is my Pillars of Destiny 3 book on fixed stars that are actually revealing the stories of this huge ocean of life memories. And understanding all that, like this is the reincarnation astrology, and working on itself to integrate that is a karmic integration. So both of them we study. If you're interested to know more about that, go to my www.aleksandarimsiragic.com /learn more, and you can get some whatever you need, some more infos about all that. And we can also study together if you feel you would like that. Go to my waiting list, and from there you'll be informed when we start the next time. Okay, so I hope that this short presentation I had was interesting to you, that you got some insights here about how things are interconnected. And if you have any kind of questions, or you'd like to ask something, to write, you can do it now, or you can send some email. I'll be very glad to be in touch with you. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for being here with us here tonight.